Deepak Fertilisers. Mr. Mehta, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, your company is going to invest 2,000 crore in Odisha. Can you tell us what kind of investment are you looking at putting in that capacity?
Based on the current capacities of 500,000 tons that we already have, we are probably world's fifth largest in the TAN space. This additional capacity we are adding at Gopalpur on the east coast is going to be adding another 377,000 odd tons per annum. And this is going to squarely put us into the top three in the world, in the league of Odisha, Dino, and the other large ones. This 2,200 crore investment that we are looking at, we would be looking at a 70-30 debt equity ratio. And the debt portion is virtually tied up. We have got all the in-principle approvals. We are just looking at the final approvals. This is going to be also globally the lowest fixed cost plant. And we are looking at completion of this in H1 2025. So broadly, we are seeing this at a very advanced stage where the land is already fully acquired. We have got environment clearances and almost 50% of the engineering is also done.
So how much will this lead to an uptick in terms of your capacity?
In the TAN segment, we are adding 377,000 tons per annum. So from a current capacity of 5 lakhs, we will become roughly around 9 lakhs.
You've got about a 34% share of industrial chemical business in your balance sheet. Are you going to improve this particular segment? Since last financial year, you had a good 46% in your balance sheet.
Correct. So with this additional capacity, certainly it will have a positive impact on the market shares.
Right. So what kind of margins are you getting in both TN as well as the industrial chemical segments?
So the TAN segment has indeed been a good, sector to be in. And, when at a full year production, when this additional capacity kicks in, the additional top line contribution in a full capacity year would be around 1,500, 1,600 crores. And it is expected to deliver around 30% EBIT margins.
So how is it that you would try and classify these kind of growth numbers? I mean, is it abnormal, an aberration, or is this normal routine growth?
No, this is certainly a good step up jump because, from current 5 lakh, tons capacity, we will go to around 8.5, 9 lakhs. So it's a good step up jump. But the way I look at it is that with the 40 years of knowledge and experience in the complete management of operations, marketing, industry, the safety, health, environment, this project, is, I would say, completely risk mitigated because we have been in this industry for the last 40 years.
Wanted to understand how the China Plus One policy as well is adding growth numbers to you. Given that there is a rising concern on the pollution in China, many companies are shutting their operations there as well. I'm guessing this is definitely, turning out to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, certainly. For our industrial chemicals, where we are looking at various grades of nitric acids, certainly we have been getting very positive traction emerging out of some of those downstreams, which now the global demand is focusing on India rather than China. So we are getting a positive ripple effect in our industrial chemicals.
Okay. Wanted to talk about your financial strength as well and wanted to understand what is the cash as well as the debt position on your books. Because, off late you've been reducing your debt pretty smartly and diligently.
Yeah. So this, you would have seen that now from year on year, we have gradually, become much more, I would say, efficient in terms of the debt management. Of course, when we take up projects, we would be certainly going back to the banking sector for, tying up the debt funding. But the debt that we take for projects, it is already capitalized in the project cost. And, we also have moratorium periods, so that by the time the interest rate and the repayment hits the P&L, by the time the new capacity also will be in place. So from that perspective, we are continuously remaining in a very pragmatic, very, I would say tightly controlled debt equity norm in terms of good financial prudential norms.
Sailesh, you've also posted more than a 400 crore rupees profit in the last financial year. Is this the highest ever profit that you've clocked, or do we expect more from you in the next 2 to 3 years?
So what we see is that while last year was our historic best, we still have around, I would say 15 to 18% additional capacities already with us, which was untapped during that year because of COVID and other aspects that came in. The second aspect is that we are considering some debottlenecking with marginal investments. So those will also be additional capacities that will kick in. And the third aspect that we are looking at is a very strong move from commodity to specialty, where we are adding, not just selling the product, but a holistic solution, whether it is in the fertilizer sector, industrial chemicals, or the mining chemicals. And that is also gradually going to improve our margins. So those three put together, we should be looking at a very positive traction in the next 2 or 3 years, after which the new projects will also kick in. So then, the returns of the new project will also emerge.
Right. Sailesh, you're a market leader in the specialty industry. Also water-soluble fertilizers too in the country. This is really an interesting space, and the government is now also putting its might behind this particular sector. What kind of growth can we expect from you, especially when it comes to this space?
So then what we are seeing is that because of the overall macro trend of water conservation, the government had pushed, and there is a massive already hardware in the soils for drip irrigation, already embedded in the soil. So that is a clear availability to the farmers to conserve water. But we are advantageously going to look at supplying fertilizers, water-soluble fertilizers, through the drip irrigation system. Now, what it is going to do is the typical solid fertilizers, which are just spread on the land, not all of it reach the roots. Whereas through drip irrigation, the nutrients are directly sent to the root of the plant. So not only the soil is conserved in terms of excess fertilizer, but the plant gets the relevant need of the nutrients that each of the plants require for growth. So from that viewpoint, we are seeing that it is going to be an innovative shift, where the hardware is already there in the soils, and it is our water-soluble fertilizers that is going to bring in a huge degree of, I would say, efficient uptake of the nutrients by the plant. So we are looking forward to that innovative step.